This is Anarchast.
Hey kids, welcome to another edition of Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. I'm at Anarchy in New York City. It's a small, well, not that small, it's supposed to be 600 people.
600 or so people.
It's a fairly decent size conference here in New York, and a lot of interesting people to talk to. We're going to have to keep this fairly short because a lot of people are just coming in right now, but I have Craig Fitzgerald on from Nata, which is, what's that stand for?
It's the National Anarchist Tribal Alliance of New York, and we're just a group of people who are committed to the principles of anarchism, decentralization, individual sovereignty, and I was supposed to be a speaker at the event here tonight, but unfortunately I will not be speaking because the organizer, Ian, who's a very good guy, a man of his word, was told by the venue that they did not want me to speak and that they did not want me here at all. And they did not want my group, Nata, to have a table. So, you know, we got in anyway. We don't need to go into those details, but...
and who was it who wanted to stop you?
Well, the venue are the ones who told Ian that I shouldn't speak. And that was because... And they told Ian because I would be a negative speaker, which is really weird because I never publicly announced what I'd be speaking about. But this was because communists had harassed the club, and they had, yeah, these Reds, and they made threats of boycott of this venue. They made threats of violence, vandalism, all types of stuff. And yeah, you just like what Trotsky and Lenin did back in the day. And you know, they blackballed me, and the club forced Ian to say you can't speak and you can't have a table 20 days before. And, you know, I worked some things out so I could be here, and that's pretty much it. I'm very disappointed. I was going to be speaking about pan-anarchist unity. I'm not as anti the Anarcho Communists as you might be. I will accept Anarcho Communists as long as they truly believe in voluntary principles.
I accept them as well if that's what they believe, but they generally don't.
They generally don't, and that's what I've seen throughout my life. I've been involved with anarchism since I was 13 years old.
So. Yeah, I wanted to ask you that because I always start off with a new guest asking how you got into anarchism. So give us a little background on how you got into it.
Well, I'm from New York. I'm a native New Yorker, so I was into punk rock and hardcore, going to CBGBs and stuff. So that's how I initially found out about it, through subcultures. And then, you know, I just kept reading, and here I am 15 years later. So.
Cool. And where do you live?
I live in upstate New York in the Adirondack Mountains.
Okay. And tell people a little bit about Nata. I don't know much about it. What's the concept and what's going on?
Well, like I said, we're a group of individuals who are committed to individual sovereignty and autonomy. And, you know, we have this label, National Anarchist. Now, people get confused and think that that's an oxymoron, that we're talking about nation states. We're not. We're talking about what the real etymology of the word nation is. And it comes from the root word in Latin, natio, which means that which has been born. And it's the same root that's in the word native, natural, nativity, etc. So
the word's been co-opted by the state.
Right. As usual, just like the word communist has been co-opted by status, just like the word capitalism has been co-opted by the status, so has feudalism, so has nationalism, all these words. So we believe that the nation is just the community, the people. And, you know, your nation is whatever you make it. And in an anarchistic, pan-anarchistic, voluntaristic world, we would see a whole rich network, a whole rich quiltwork of different communities and tribes and city-states with different economic theories and different social theories.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to see.
Indeed.
Hopefully it goes that way. We need more government.
I do too.
It's really it really goes against your instincts because we don't like the state or government. We see all the flaws with it, and we see it as an unnecessary evil.
Right.
But it's funny, we actually need more governments, not less, until eventually, hopefully, we have 7 billion. So everything going well with your organization?
Yeah, everything is strong. With all these attacks, I have to say it's only solidified the group and made us a stronger unit. People realize how crazy these anarcho-communists can be, and that they've actually last week at the Anarchist Book Fair in New York City, an annual thing, one of the members of Nata was spit on and assaulted by these communists claiming a group called Antifa, Anti-Fascist Action, and that's the group that probably made the phone call blitz to this venue to get me blackballed.
Huh. Well, I'm against fascism as well, so
Me
I don't
too.
know what their issue is, why they have to go around being violent with other people.
Well, it's just like anybody who disagrees with them on social theory or economic theory is a fascist. I mean, they have a big hang up about us being national anarchists, but they just as much dislike anarcho-capitalists, voluntarists, and libertarians. You know, they see, I mean, I've heard these people call Ron Paul a fascist, so there you go.
Yeah, I wish they would just drop the anarcho, because they're not anarchists, they're just communists. If you just take off anarcho, they're still the exact same thing. They're
Right.
communists.
And for me, I'm a historian, really. That's how I came into politics, is studying philosophy, studying history, and came into anarchism partly, not just through punk rock, but studying these things. And if you look at history, you know, look at the Bolshevik Revolution. There was Russian anarchists who thought they were going to be able to go after the October Revolution happened and have their little anarchist enclaves. And when Emma Goldman and Alexander Berkman and Peter Kropotkin and all these famous anarcho-socialists went back to Russia, it did not work out for anarchy. Lenin and Trotsky wanted nothing to do with the anarchist elements in that revolution. And they may have been a lot more, you know, left-wing anarchists than you or I, but they were still had, the statists, the communists had no room for them at all.
Very interesting. I think we should wrap it up, that people are filing in now, and we try to get a few other people on here as quickly as we can while I'm here in New York. But I'd like to thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff. It's great talking with you today.
You too. So that's it for Anarchast, your home for anarchy on the internet. Peace.
Peace.
Love, and anarchy.